Hey everyone, I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce you to my friend Jim here and steal a little bit of his time. Jim is a local appraiser, and we are going to share a lot of great information for buyers, sellers, and anyone else who could potentially use an appraiser. So Jim, thanks for coming in today.
My
really
pleasure.
Appreciate
Thanks for having
the
me.
time. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started?
Back in 2001, I got booted out of corporate America, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. And one of my best friends, John Strickland with William Wood Company, is a broker.
Okay.
And he said, "Do you want to try real estate?" And I thought, sure, why not? I got into it for about a year, and I realized I didn't like working weekends.
Yeah.
A good part of their business, though, is appraising.
Yeah.
So I said, "Can I give this a shot?" And he said, "Sure." So I had to go through an apprenticeship period, and in 2004, I was able to test with the state, and I got certified in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then in 2007, I went out on my own and started Shamrock Appraisal Services, and it's been an awesome journey so far.
Yeah, I would say so. I know I'm happy with you, so.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the basics. In your own words,
Sure.
what would you say, let's explain what an appraisal is and the level of its importance for each transaction.
Okay, the value of an appraisal, for me, I do appraisals for transactions.
Yeah.
I also do for divorces and estate appraisals, and I
Okay.
also do pre-listings. But it's all the same appraisal. There's
Right.
no difference in the appraisal. And the value for determining for the financing purposes, when a home goes under agreement,
Yeah.
I have to prove to the bank that, yes, it's worth that money. And I do that by going out and doing appraisal and looking at the comparables, and then I put it together in a report.
Yeah. So the level of importance,
I'm
mean,
very important to this deal.
yes, you are. But, I think everybody's always waiting. That's one of the steps in the process where we're kind of always like, okay, everything's over asking these days, right? So do the numbers work? We're all on pins and needles just waiting to hear.
We appraisers have had our challenges over the last couple of years, and
Yeah.
it's been difficult, and it still is difficult.
Yeah. Think it's going to change anytime soon?
God, I hope so.
How does an appraiser get chosen in a typical transaction?
In a financing transaction, the mortgage companies and banks and whoever have to go through what they call an AMC, which is an appraisal management company.
Okay.
And the reason why they brought that into the play was loan officers were putting pressure on us appraisers to come in at a certain value, or they weren't going to use us.
Yeah.
So the government eliminated that, so we have no contact with the loan officer.
Yeah.
And with the AMCs, we're on a rotating list.
Okay.
And that's how we get chosen.
That seems a little bit more fair.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it really helped my business when that happened, because I was able to, through connections, get on a lot more lists, and it was very profitable for me.
Well, good. I'm
Yeah.
glad. So who pays for an appraiser in a transaction?
In that type of transaction, the AMC pays me. They get the money from the lender, who gets it from the potential buyer.
Yeah.
With the divorce appraisals and the estate appraisals, typically it's the lawyer that pays me.
Oh, okay. So in a standard transaction, just helping people, be more aware if they haven't bought a house before, it's the buyers who are going to pay for it.
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
Jim, can you explain the method you use when appraising properties?
When I get assigned an appraisal, I immediately reach out to the listing agent to schedule the appraisal.
Okay.
What I love is when the listing agent and the homeowners are there when I go there for my property inspection. That way I can have a wealth of knowledge about the property.
Yeah.
I then go outside and measure the home, and I come up with a sketch for each floor.
Okay.
And then I go inside, I take photos of each of the rooms, I label my sketch where all the rooms are, and then I take that information back to my office and put it into my appraisal program.
Okay.
Then I've already picked out the comparables that I'm going to use to kind of come up with the market value, and I
Sure.
put them into the report, and then make some adjustments, and then I come up with the market number.
Okay. So that's really easy to do right now, right? These days with all the comps.
It is horrendous right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, the comps are few and far between, and I believe it's only going to get worse, unfortunately.
Yeah, limited inventory has really made it challenging for me and challenging for
Yes.
you. So what do you base it on, with the comps? What are you looking for? Room count, style of home, things like that.
I initially start with the square footage
Yep.
and the bedroom count.
Okay.
Then I look at acreage, and then I just, used to be where we could just start out and look for comps in the township.
Yeah.
And then went to school districts. Now
Yeah.
I'm finding that I have to cross school districts, but we can't get blood from a stone. We got to use what's available.
Yeah.
And that's what our challenge is right now.
Yeah. How far back do you go for when running comps?
I start out with 3 to 6 months, and
Yeah.
then I take it back even further. But even going back 12 months was
I
still
know.
a different market than what it is
Isn't that
now.
crazy? Yeah.
So, yes, there's challenges with every report right
Yeah.
now.
Does the type of loan impact the appraisal requirements?
When it comes to government loans like FHA or VA loans, there are more
Yeah.
things we have to look for during our home inspection.
Okay.
Safety issues, secure issues, soundness.
Okay.
Like if we see a cracked foundation, I would even look for calling that out in a conventional loan. But
Okay.
there's more safety issues involved, and
Okay.
also like chip paint in the older homes where it's lead based.
Yep.
We have to call that out. We do all have a list of things we got to look for when we do our home inspection.
I think that's really helpful for buyers to understand that, because oftentimes when I'm working with a mortgage lender and we've got this buyer that really qualifies for both conventional and but FHA, and it's kind of like, which way do you go? I think that that's really important for them to know.
Sure.
That the appraiser is going to look at some extra things, so take that into consideration
Right,
when
right.
going FHA. So
Right.
thank you. What improvements or renovations add the most value to a home?
Good question, Jen, and I get asked this a lot.
I'm sure.
I always start with kitchens, bathrooms, and if they can finish their basement, if it isn't already finished, look at doing that as well.
Okay.
And then you might look at, what condition is your roof, the windows.
Yeah.
But the big counters are the kitchen and the bathrooms.
Yeah. So this is great for sellers to be listening to, right? If they're thinking about, we're going to list in the spring, and, some neighbors did some recent things, we want to be able to hit top dollar, So kitchens, bathrooms, and the basement.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Jim, how do you account for unique features of a property?
Well, let's start with one, swimming pools.
Okay.
Pre-COVID, I wasn't given as much value to a swimming pool
Right.
as I am now, because they're more popular.
Right.
Even though they are more expensive, people will be paying to get that swimming pool.
Yeah.
The other one I would think was unique are solar panels.
Okay.
Solar panels are tough to put a value on, so as I do my appraisal process with my report,
Okay.
I may lean towards the higher end of the range of values to show that, there is value to that home
Okay.
to have solar panels, but it's tough to put a direct number on it.
Yeah. Is there anything that sellers might have wanted you to add value for where you feel like you really couldn't?
Shrubbery.
Yeah. All this beautiful landscaping.
All this beautiful landscaping, that's tough.
Yeah.
The hardscaping is tough.
Yeah.
That might be another one where I may lean a little higher in the range of value, because they are expensive.
Yeah.
The hardscaping is very expensive.
Sure.
Other than that, I can't think of anything else.
Well, I think that was great. I think
Okay.
sellers will be very happy to have a good understanding of what will count and what doesn't.
Okay, good.
Jim, what happens if the home doesn't appraise at the agreed purchase price?
After I do my report, I send it into the AMC, the Appraisal Management Company. They do their underwriting. Then it goes to the lender, who does their underwriting.
Sure.
Then they'll notify the buyer and the buyer agent that this did not appraise at the agreed amount price. So the buyer can either make up the difference between my appraisal number and the agreement of sale, or the two parties can come to a mutually agreed price,
Okay.
or the deal may not go through at all.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Do you ever have any instances where the agent might come back to you and ask you to reappraise the property, or?
What has happened in the past is they have to go through the chain of command. So
Okay.
the buying agent or listing agent will go to the lender with some comparables for me to look at.
Okay.
They'll send it to the AMC, and then they contact us. And we all have some egos at some points in times, but I always look at the comparables that are
Yeah.
given to me, because maybe I just miss one or two.
Sure.
And if I do miss them, I'm going to put them into the report.
Yeah.
There are times where they give me comparables which are already in the report, which tells me they didn't look at the report,
Yeah.
they just look at the number.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much how it works out.
Okay. Jim, how long does the appraisal process typically take?
For me personally, I start early in the morning and I prepare the reports that I'm going to be doing that day.
Okay.
Then I go out and do the inspection. I come back to my home, fill in the blanks, and I typically will have that report uploaded the same day as I do my appraisal inspection.
That's fantastic.
'Cause I do not like having them on my desk. And
Yeah.
especially when it was busy, I was just bang, 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 getting them out.
Yeah. I mean, not that long ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we were dealing with waiting a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh, I was
it was
scheduling
tough.
3 weeks out.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah, but you kind of got into the rhythm of being
Yes.
able to turn things around in 24 hours,
Yes.
which I'm sure everybody appreciates.
Good. I hope so.
Yeah. What are some good examples of when a pre-appraisal is needed or should be considered?
Jen, I think the best example is right in this market now. The homeowners are seeing what some of their neighbors' houses are going for.
Yeah.
And they have these rose-colored glasses on.
Yep.
And that's when the listing agent will bring an appraiser in to say, okay, this is what the home is really worth based on my appraisal.
Yeah. Is there any other reasons why you would get a pre-appraisal?
What I've done in the past is going out and measuring the home ahead of time,
Okay.
because sometimes the square footage in the public records is incorrect,
Yes.
especially with split levels and Cape Cods.
Yes.
So instead of just doing an appraisal, the listing agent and the homeowner will have me come out and measure the home to get an accurate square footage. That way there's no surprises when the
Yeah.
appraisal is done.
That's great. Jim, I can't thank you enough for your time today. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot of people listening that will definitely find some value to this. So thank you again.
Jen, thanks for having me. It was my pleasure.